So it's time for the 2019 Canadian federal election, and this is an interesting one. This you could almost bet on who's going to win, and most people would think that the Liberals would. I personally think the Liberals are probably going to win with a minority government. And what you see here is these ridings here. I guess they have to fully report, or they at least have to report to their medium to have the actual number. But this does demonstrate the voting tendency. And the first ones up were the eastern region, and I'm thinking that persons mostly want to support persons who they feel represent their interests, and the Quebecers would be more interested in a sort of a French guy, and the Albertans should kind of portrays himself as some sort of Alberta farmer guy or something. And so Alberta is going to mostly go for that, I would say, and that appears to be the case. In a way, this is showing a division between the various groups of interest in the country, which have not at this time broken up. Also, I was going to say that two similar parties might break apart, vote into two directions that would otherwise be a majority, and so another party could be the ruling party. Just because two other parties sort of separated votes, and that's certainly true of the Liberals and the Bloc de Québécois. So far it looks like the Liberals are probably going to win. Also, I was going to say with the Green Party, you could have 10% of persons or something wanting the Green Party everywhere, but if you can't flip over anything, you're not going to wind up with any representation. So far they've got two. Last time I looked, it was one. Yeah, I had some trouble getting my sound going with this for computer. I don't understand the problem. It's the first time I've seen that. Well, looks like there's some sort of activity with the Bloc Québécois in Quebec, so that might again break them up. The Liberal response there, although still looking pretty good.
They were hoping for a majority. Prediction of a Liberal minority government. I guess a government is a government, although, Ronnie, you've lived through a few minorities. Let's have it.
A few minority governments, and they are challenging. They're huge.
So my understanding would be these conclusions, it does look like the Liberals are going to win with a minority, but until you're over the median of the reportings in any riding, we don't really know what the actual numbers are, but they're not going to change drastically. So that's probably the situation you're looking at.
Between 20 and 32. And Nick, a lot of the data that you were picking up in your polling is actually turning into a reality at the ballot box in Quebec, and these gains with the Bloc Québécois are hurting the Liberals.
Absolutely. What we've seen is a pickup for the Bloc Québécois. They've been on the upswing for the last 7 to 10 days.
Honestly, the longer this goes on, it looks like the Conservatives are not regaining ground. The Liberals seem to be succeeding more so than the Conservatives. Earlier on, it looked like the NDP were getting a good amount of traction, and I think some of those regions have flipped over because they were in an early state of reporting. And I was going to say, having a minority leader for the NDP honestly is probably sort of a little bit of an unstable thing, and one of the reasons is because the Sikhs could be seen as sort of misinterpreted as kind of like a Muslim, and I don't know the specifics on these cultures, but I think the Pakistanis are more cool than some of the views of some of the Arabs. So I think some people could be put off by that, or just generally not feeling they're being represented by themselves. Yeah, sometimes I think it's funny to think of things in terms of numerical relationships. So right now, the NDP have 20 times the seats of the Green Party. Yeah, so some of these regions haven't really finished reporting, but it's clear that different geographic regions have very strong tendencies. What is this? Is that my NDP? No? Okay. Well, maybe not. At least they got an NDP in the middle of Alberta. But you can see, yeah, definitely an Alberta-centered conservative response. Yeah, it's kind of like a sports match where you're in the last inning, and it's very unlikely, especially if you're scoring high on one side, that you'd be able to change the outcome. I mean, you're looking at 143 versus 118. then complete, under the median of reporting on writings. So it's conceivable that you could have a flip over, but it's pretty unlikely that the Conservatives are going to win this one at this point. So I'm guessing, like, if you wanted to make like a computer algorithm that would like say this is definitely the outcome, you need to have a reporting over a median of reports in a writing, and then you could declare which ones have definitely been in a definite form. Then you need to have a median of seats. Then you'd be able to declare like a minority, but not a majority at that point. So, let's see. Then you could say if you've locked the other side in to a certain amount, you can't have the other side be a majority. But then all this is depending on being the reporting state being higher than the median in the writings. I'm not sure if we've done that. We've got to that point really in this. Back with more numerical or functional analysis. Bloc Québécois have more seats than the NDP, and the Green Party. The NDP has 8 times more seats than the Green Party.
Saw it. Jaime Baptiste is elected, but this is the big story. Maxime Bernier has lost his own riding.
Lisa, the
Oopsie
dairy
doopsie.
farmers will be throwing champagne
Yeah, that's certainly
at the feed
possible.
tonight.
I'm so glad this guy is not going to like pull out of that one.
Plus de 315 candidats et candidates.
350
think it's okay.
candidates
It's
of
not
the
gonna
Popular
blow
Party
over.
across the country who
And
Yeah, so it looks like what's happening here is that the Liberals are probably closer to being a majority than the Conservatives to winning a minority. But it's not impossible Liberals could be a majority. But they seem to be holding pretty stable around the 156 level. They need to get to the 170 level to be a majority. So we'll see. But it's probably entering its final stages here at 11:30. If I understand properly, there's a number of time zones here, and the time zones, the earlier time zones are going to conclude their reporting earlier. So it looks like really only the Pacific time is the one that's really in danger of changing at this time. So you're looking at, a 120. Most things were over the half of the reporting in the Alberta area. So it looks like it's pretty well over, and it's going to be a Liberal minority. Well, we have an interesting development in Vancouver, Granville, with Wilson Raybould apparently now leading. So there's a chance that Raybould's political whatever might work out to some extent. Yeah, if anything, the Liberals aren't gaining ground; they're losing to the Conservatives at this point. So it's not looking very good for them, for a majority, but for a minority, yes. Yeah, so let's check out my writing here, and basically, let's see. I don't think my vote has ever changed anything. My vote potentially changed the mayor, but I've never won a vote here in my riding. Eastern Ontario, okay, that's our good old Ottawa. Yeah, it's all Liberal. Ottawa, Vanier, yeah, Liberal. So you'd be happy to know it didn't affect anything. Once again, I totally failed to affect anything by voting. Alright, so just so I don't have to stay up too late here, I'm going to cut it off. I think that it's very likely going to be a Liberal minority, and I'm going to shove all the video pieces together, edit out anything that isn't relevant, or make it flow properly, and pack it back up. So that is that.